Across the vast American landscape, change is unfolding. As the pillars of Elon Musk's empire tremble, entire states feel the aftershocks. A subtle shift, like the turning of a season, is moving through the very ecosystems of human endeavor. What was once seen as an unshakable force of progress now appears vulnerable, caught in the cross-currents of ambition and consequence. Entire communities, built on the promise of a technological future, now hold their breath, listening for the slightest tremor in the foundations of their world. This is not a story of sudden collapse, but of a slow, creeping transformation. It is a tale told not in headlines, but in the quiet anxieties of cities and the shifting fortunes of sprawling, industrial habitats. From the sun-drenched coasts of the Pacific to the arid plains of the heartland, a great drama is playing out. The intricate web connecting human dreams to the natural world is being tested. The promise of a new era, once so bright, now casts long, uncertain shadows across the continent. We journey now into these territories of change, to observe the delicate balance between hope and uncertainty. We will witness how the fortunes of one dominant figure can reshape the lives of millions, and how the environment itself bears witness to these monumental shifts. In this intricate dance of power, ambition, and nature, the next chapter is being written not in boardrooms, but in the lives of ordinary people and the silent landscapes they call home. Here, in California, the air itself seems to carry a different weight. Silicon Valley, for so long the vibrant heart of a global technological migration, now exhibits a strange and uncharacteristic stillness. The great herds of innovators, once driven by an insatiable hunger for the next frontier, now move with a palpable sense of caution. The hum of ceaseless creation has softened to a murmur, a low thrum of apprehension that echoes through the glass canyons of its corporate campuses. The migration patterns are changing. Bright minds, once drawn to this place like moths to a flame, are beginning to disperse. The promise of boundless growth, the very lifeblood of this unique ecosystem, has become clouded. In the once teeming office parks, a new quiet has descended. The frantic energy that defined an entire generation of ambition is receding, leaving behind a landscape of uncertainty and introspection. The great digital watering holes are not as crowded as they once were. Look closer, and you can see the signs of this shift. The flow of capital, that powerful current that shapes this entire region, has become erratic. Startups, the fledgling young of this environment, find the nutrient-rich waters of investment growing shallower. The established giants, the apex predators of this technological savanna, scan the horizon with a new wariness. Their dominance, once taken for granted, now seems a more fragile proposition, subject to the unpredictable winds of change. The ripple effects extend far beyond the corporate walls. In the surrounding communities, the delicate symbiosis between the tech titans and the local populace is under strain. The promise of prosperity, which once seemed to flow as freely as the California sunshine, is now being questioned. Families that structured their lives around the gravitational pull of this industry now find their orbits destabilized, their futures less certain. The dream, for many, is being recalibrated. Even the natural world seems to observe this human drama. Along the coastline, where the Pacific meets the land, the fog rolls in, cloaking the landscape in a soft gray veil. It is a fitting metaphor for the mood that has settled here. The clear, sharp lines of progress have become blurred. The relentless forward march has slowed to a more hesitant, watchful pace, as if the entire region is pausing to consider its next move. The vast infrastructure built to support this boom now stands as a monument to more confident time. The intricate network of highways, once choked with the daily migration of workers, flows with a little more ease. This newfound space, however, is not a sign of efficiency, but of a subtle emptying out. It is the physical manifestation of a psychological shift, a collective intake of breath in the face of an unknown future. The local wildlife, long accustomed to the encroaching presence of human activity, continues its ancient rhythms. A hawk circles high above a sprawling campus, its sharp eyes surveying a scene of profound, yet almost invisible change. It is a reminder that while human empires may rise and fall, the more fundamental cycles of life and nature persist, indifferent to the dramas unfolding below. This silent unease is a new phenomenon for a place defined by its boisterous optimism. The very language of the valley, filled with talk of disruption and exponential growth, now includes whispers of contraction and consolidation. The narrative is changing, and with it, the emotional climate of this unique and influential corner of the world. The ground, it seems, is no longer as firm as it once was. In the quiet suburban streets where the rewards of the tech boom are most visible, a new anxiety has taken root. The value of homes, the stability of schools, the very fabric of community life, all are tied to the fortunes of the giants in their midst. As those giants show signs of unsteadiness, a tremor of doubt runs through the lives of those who have built their nests in their shadow. And so, California waits. The land of golden opportunity, the cradle of digital civilization, finds itself in a period of profound re-evaluation. The sun still sets in a spectacular blaze over the Pacific, but it illuminates a landscape where the future's no longer a straight, ascending line. It has become a question mark, hanging in the still evening air. We travel now to the vast open plains of Texas, a land of bold ambition and grand scale. Here, a great migration has been underway. Drawn by promises of a new frontier, a different kind of freedom, innovators and industrialists arrived, seeking to carve out a new empire under the sprawling Texan sky. Austin, once a quirky musical enclave, was to be the epicenter of this new world, a beacon of technological manifest destiny. The arrival of this new industrial force was a dramatic event. It was like the introduction of a new dominant species into an established ecosystem. The landscape began to change, physically and culturally. Gigantic structures rose from the earth, monuments to a future being built at breathtaking speed. The promise was immense, a fusion of Texan bravado and Californian ingenuity, creating a powerhouse of progress that would reshape the American heartland. But here, too, a tension is palpable. The grand dream of unbridled innovation is colliding with a more complex reality. The initial surge of optimism, so powerful and infectious, is now tempered by the harsh winds of economic uncertainty. The very ground on which these new foundations were laid seems less stable than once believed. In the air, there is a sense of a gamble whose outcome is no longer assured. The local communities which welcomed this new era with a mixture of excitement and trepidation are now navigating a precarious landscape. The boom brought jobs and investment, but it also brought disruption. The delicate balance of the old way of life was irrevocably altered. Now, as the engine of that boom sputters, a quiet anxiety spreads. The question hangs in the humid air. What happens if the dream falters? In the shadow of the colossal factories, life carries on, but with a new undercurrent of concern. The initial frenzy of construction has given way to a more measured, watchful rhythm. The relentless pace of expansion has slowed, and in its place, a period of introspection has begun. The bold pronouncements of a new age are now followed by the cautious whispers of contingency plans. The natural environment itself seems to reflect this tension. The rivers that wind through this land, the ancient oaks that have stood for centuries, bear silent witness to the human drama. The rapid development has left its mark on the landscape, a scar of ambition. Now, as that ambition is checked, nature seems to be holding its breath, waiting to see if it will have a chance to reclaim what was lost. Look to the financial currents that flow through this state. The torrent of investment that fueled this expansion has become a more hesitant stream. The great risk-takers, the patrons of this Texan gambit, are now hedging their bets. The economic indicators, once pointing ever upward, now trace a more volatile path. The confidence that defined the initial rush is being eroded by doubt. Along the highways that connect the burgeoning tech hubs to the older, more established Texas cities, a sense of unease travels with the traffic. The initial narrative was one of a triumphant exodus, a flight from the problems of the old world to the promise of the new. But now, it is clear that some of those problems have been brought along for the journey, and new ones have emerged in their place. The spirit of Texas is one of resilience, of enduring hardship and coming back stronger. That spirit is now being tested in a way it has not been for generations. This is not a challenge of the land, of drought or storm, but a challenge of a modern, globalized economy. It is a test of whether a culture built on oil and cattle can truly transform itself into a haven for silicon and code. As the sun sets over the wide, flat horizon, painting the sky in fiery colors, the silhouettes of the new industrial giant stand stark against the fading light. They are symbols of a monumental bet, a wager on a particular vision of the future. And in the long shadows they cast, the people of this land watch and wait, wondering if they have hitched their wagons to a rising star or a falling one. Our journey now takes us into the stark, silent beauty of the Nevada desert. This is a land of extremes, of harsh sun and profound emptiness, where survival has always depended on resilience and ingenuity. It was here, amidst the sagebrush and the vast open sky, that one of the boldest promises was made. A gigantic factory, a so-called gigafactory, that would rise from the desert floor and power a new industrial revolution. The arrival of this colossal structure was a monumental event in this arid landscape. It was an oasis of human activity in a sea of geological time. It promised a new kind of prosperity for a state long defined by games of chance. This was a different kind of wager, a bet on manufacturing, on energy, on a tangible future built of batteries and steel. Thousands were drawn to this promise, seeking stable work in a place of inherent volatility. For a time, the promise seemed to be fulfilled. The factory pulsed with life, a vibrant heart in the middle of the desert, its rhythms dictated by the global demand for a new kind of energy. The surrounding towns, once sleepy outposts, began to stir with new life. A fragile but hopeful ecosystem of commerce and community grew in the shadow of the industrial giant, sustained by the steady flow of wages and the belief in a secure future. But now, a quiet anxiety has crept into this desert landscape. The once deafening hum of relentless production has softened. The pulse of the factory has become less steady, more erratic. The unwavering confidence that fueled its creation has given way to a more somber mood. Doubt, like a fine desert dust, has begun to settle on everything, casting a pall over the once bright hopes. The communities that tethered their fortunes to this single massive entity are now feeling the tremors. A slowdown in production is not an abstract concept. Here, it is a direct threat to the livelihoods of thousands. In the small diners and local stores, the conversations are laced with concern. The optimism of the boom years is being replaced by the quiet fear of a bust. A fear that is all too familiar in this region's history. The desert itself, an environment of immense patience, watches this human drama unfold. The ancient mountains that ring the valley have seen countless cycles of boom and bust, of human ambition rising and falling like the heat shimmers on the horizon. The factory, for all its scale and modernity, is but a fleeting presence in this timeless landscape. Its echoes of doubt now join the whispers of the wind through the canyons. The vast parking lots, once filled to capacity with the vehicles of a multi-shift workforce, now show conspicuous gaps. These empty spaces are a stark, visual measure of the uncertainty. Each vacant spot represents a family whose future has become less secure, a life that has been touched by the shifting fortunes of a distant corporate strategy. The scale of the hope is matched only by the scale of the potential disappointment. The wildlife of the desert, masters of survival in a harsh environment, continue their daily struggle. A desert fox, hunting in the twilight, might pass by the factory's perimeter fence, indifferent to the complex economic forces at play within. Yet, The human presence has altered its world, and the contraction of that presence will alter it again in ways subtle and unforeseen. The workers, the very lifeblood of this industrial oasis, now live with a sense of precarity. Their skills are specialized, honed for a particular type of manufacturing that was heralded as the future. Now they are forced to wonder what happens if that future fails to fully materialize. Their lives are a testament to the human cost of grand industrial gambles. In the quiet of the desert night under a canopy of brilliant stars, the factory glows with a more subdued light. It stands as a powerful symbol of what has been and what might be. Once a beacon of unstoppable progress, it now echoes with doubt. The silence of the vast, empty landscape seems to amplify the questions, making them feel as immense and imposing as the mountains themselves. We move now to a vastly different environment, the vertical canyons of New York City. This is a habitat unlike any other, a dense, man-made jungle where the apex predators are not creatures of flesh and blood, but titanic forces of capital and information. Here, the tremors of a distant empire are not felt in the ground, but in the rapid-fire flicker of stock tickers and the hushed, urgent conversations in glass-walled towers. For a long time, the name Musk was a kind of incantation in the city, a word synonymous with a seemingly magical ability to conjure wealth from pure vision. The financial markets, the lifeblood of this metropolis, fed voraciously on the stories of his ventures. Billions of dollars, the stored energy of this urban ecosystem, flowed towards his enterprises, fueling their meteoric rise and reshaping the technological landscape. Now, however, the mood is shifting. The unwavering faith that once characterized the market's relationship with this figure is beginning to fray. The narrative of inevitable triumph is being challenged by a new story, one of erratic behavior and questionable decisions. In the trading pits and on the glowing screens, a new pattern is emerging. Volatility. The steady upward climb has been replaced by a series of jarring peaks and valleys. This change in sentiment is a powerful force. In New York, perception is reality. A loss of confidence can trigger a cascade, a stampede of selling that can bring even the mightiest entities to their knees. The complex web of investors, analysts, and traders, once a chorus of praise, is now a cacophony of competing opinions. The herd, once moving in a single direction, is showing signs of confusion and panic. The impact extends beyond the financial district. The city's burgeoning tech sector, which has sought to emulate the disruptive energy of Silicon Valley, watches with rapt attention. These smaller, more agile creatures of the corporate world have long looked to the giants for cues. Now, the signals are mixed, and a sense of caution is replacing the swashbuckling bravado that once defined the startup culture. In the corridors of power, from Wall Street to Madison Avenue, the ripples are felt. The advertising industry, which thrives on the perception of strength and stability, reevaluates its relationship with a brand that has become unpredictable. Law firms and consultancies, the vital support species in this ecosystem, prepare for a new wave of challenges, from shareholder lawsuits to corporate restructuring. The city's very rhythm seems to absorb this new uncertainty. New York is a place of perpetual motion, but the nature of that motion is changing. The frantic energy of a bull market is giving way to the more nervous, skittish energy of a market in doubt. The confident stride of the city's power brokers has been replaced by a more watchful, guarded posture. Even at street level, far from the boardrooms, the effects begin to materialize. The media, the city's nervous system, broadcasts a constant stream of updates, feeding the anxiety. The story of the trembling empire becomes part of the city's daily conversation, a new drama playing out alongside the countless other stories of struggle and ambition that define this place. This is a city that has weathered countless storms, financial and otherwise. It has a built-in resilience, an ability to adapt and evolve. But the current situation presents a unique challenge. It is not merely a financial downturn, but a crisis of faith in a particular kind of technological messianism that has dominated the global conversation for years. As dusk falls and the city's lights begin to glitter, turning the streets into rivers of light, The numbers continue to dance on screens high above. Each flicker represents a decision, a bet for or against a future that seems less certain with every passing moment. In the city of numbers, the story of a crumbling giant is being told in the stark, unforgiving language of profit and loss. Our final destination is Florida, a peninsula of sand and sun, long a haven for dreamers, retirees, and those seeking a fresh start. Here, optimism is a natural resource, as plentiful as the sunshine. It was into this environment of boundless hope that a new vision was projected. A future of space exploration and technological marvels, launching from this coast and transforming the state into a gateway to the stars. The Space Coast, a region with a storied history of reaching for the heavens, was revitalized. The thunderous roar of rockets, once a fading echo of a past era, returned with new vigor. The launches became celebrated events, drawing crowds who would gaze skyward, their faces filled with awe. They were witnessing the physical manifestation of a bold, futuristic promise, a tangible link between a terrestrial empire and the cosmos. This renewed sense of purpose infused the state with a powerful current of excitement. It attracted a new migration of engineers, technicians, and entrepreneurs, all eager to be part of this grand adventure. Florida was not just a place to live, it was a launch pad for humanity's future. The optimism was infectious, spreading through the financial and real estate markets, fueling a boom built on a foundation of technological prowess. But tides, by their very nature, turn. And here in Florida, a state intimately familiar with the ebb and flow of the ocean, a sense of an outgoing tide is beginning to be felt. The once unwavering belief in the mission, and in its singular leader, is being eroded by a constant stream of terrestrial controversies and distractions. The celestial ambition is being pulled back to Earth by the gravity of human fallibility. The fear of collapse, once a distant and unthinkable prospect, now laps at the shores of this optimistic state. It is a subtle fear, often unspoken, but present in the slight hesitation before a new investment, or in the worried conversations among those whose livelihoods are directly tied to the spacefaring enterprise. The collision of boundless optimism with this new, creeping dread creates a profound tension. The natural world of Florida, a fragile ecosystem of wetlands and coastlines, offers a poignant backdrop to this human drama. The launch sites themselves are carved out of a wild landscape, a place of alligators, manatees, and countless species of birds. This juxtaposition of advanced technology and primordial nature is striking. As the human enterprise shows signs of instability, the resilience of the natural world seems all the more profound. The community that has grown around this new space race now finds itself in a precarious position. Their fortunes are hitched to the trajectory of rockets, both literal and metaphorical. A launch delay, a failed mission, or a sudden shift in corporate focus can send shockwaves through the local economy. The dream of reaching for the stars is proving to be a volatile foundation upon which to build a life. The financial optimism that buoyed the state is also being tested. The influx of tech wealth and talent created a speculative bubble in many areas. Now, as the source of that wealth appears less secure, the bubble seems fragile. The question arises, what is left if the technological dream recedes? Will the state's economy prove resilient, or will the receding tide reveal a barren landscape? The spectacular rocket launches continue, for now. They remain powerful symbols of what is possible, but each fiery ascent is now tinged with a new sense of fragility. It is a reminder of the immense complexity and risk involved, not just technologically, but financially and reputationally. The upward thrust of the rocket is contrasted with the downward pull of uncertainty. And so, Florida waits, watching the sky and the sea. The state that has long been a magnet for those chasing a dream is now confronting the possibility that this latest, grandest dream might be faltering. The warm sea breeze carries with it the scent of salt water, and the faint unspoken fear that the tide of fortune, which rose so quickly, could recede just as fast. From the digital heartlands of California to the sun-scorched shores of Florida, the narrative of this modern empire is fracturing. What was once a singular story of inevitable progress has splintered into 1,000 smaller tales of hope, anxiety, and adaptation. The great certainties of a technological age are giving way to a more complex and unpredictable reality. The tremors from one man's unsteady throne are reshaping the economic geology of a nation. The consequences of this shift are not yet fully understood. They are unfolding in real time, in the quiet decisions of families, the strategic pivots of businesses, and the nervous fluctuations of global markets. This is a story not just about technology or finance, but about the deeply intertwined nature of human ambition and the environments we inhabit. It is a reminder that even the most powerful creations are subject to the fundamental laws of nature and the unpredictable currents of human behavior. In these states, the story is still unfolding. The livelihoods of millions, the futures of entire communities, hang in a delicate balance. The ultimate outcome of this great drama remains unknown, a question carried on the wind and reflected in the water. As the sun sets over these vast landscapes, from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic shore, the future remains uncertain, etched in the wind, the water, and the silent watch of wildlife.